Hello guys, it is Fun to Code. Welcome to this video. In this video, I want to talk to you about ternary operators in JavaScript and how amazing they could be in action. We are going to look at this example right here, which is a function, a mathematical function that is going to take different values for each of these boundaries. For example, if you input a number that is less than 0, it's going to give us back 0. If we input some number that is between 0 and 2, it's going to give us this value, and so far and so forth. What we are going to do here is that we will actually code the function in JavaScript. So how we would approach it is probably write a function, call it f, which takes an input called y, and we are going to check the conditions here, right? So if we are going to say that if y is less than or equal to 0, we want to return 0. If y is less than 2, then we are going to return y divided by 8. So there is something important to note here, and that is that the code is going to run sequentially. So if we ever reach out to this point, it means that we have not returned yet. So it means that y isn't actually less than or equal to 0, which means y is greater than 0. So this right here is exactly equal to this. It makes no difference. So we are going to go through the next part, which is to check if y is less than 4, and then we're going to return y times y divided by 16, and y times y is actually y squared, so no difference. And otherwise we want to return 1. So otherwise, if none of the above checks were actually true, we would actually return 1, and that's the code. So I can test it. For example, let's define a variable here, which I'm going to forever call my function with that. So I'm going to call it input. Input equals to, for example, say -4, and I'm going to run my function here, console.log f of input. So from now on, I'm going to just change this input right here, and the other changes will actually be good to go. So I'm going to save my file and run it. So node index.js. So as we can see, our code actually returns 0. We can actually try something that would run this code right here. If I say 3 here and save it, you see we have this number. So our code is running okay. So let's try to refactor this code to use ternary operators. So what I believe is that the ternaries are very good. They can simplify codes pretty much everywhere you use them, but it can be non-readable. It could be hard to read, but if you actually just try to indent them good, it's gonna actually look very good. It's gonna look just like these codes right here, nothing more, nothing unreadable. So let's try to do that. So I want to say, I'm going to just have some line breaks here, and eventually I'm going to delete all of this. So I'm going to say that I am going to return a value, right? I'm going to return 0 when am I going to return 0? When y is less than or equal to 0. So if y is less than or equal to 0, if so, I'm going to just return 0. Well, if it's not, I am going to check whether y is less than 2. If it was less than 2, I want to return y divided by 8. So, as you can see, it's already getting non-readable. It's getting hard to read. If I continue just having these logics up here, it's going to be just a headache to read this code. So what I'm going to suggest you to do is that to make them like this. So I'm going to just have a line break right here, and oh, no. It's actually a bad practice to have a return like this, because of the how JS works. It's gonna just have a return undefined by default right here. So if you're it's because of how JS actually interprets code, and the automatic semicolon putting that it does. So it's going to just put a semicolon right here, and it's going to just be terrible. So we want to actually have it on the same line here. But what I'm going to do to simplify the code is that I'm going to just have a line break after this colon right here. This colon means otherwise, if it wasn't. So we are going to check if y is less than or equal to 0. If so, we're going to return to 0. Otherwise, we are going to go to the next line, and we want to say if we want to check if y is less than 2. If so, we want to return y divided by 8. If it wasn't, we are going to check if y is less than 4. If y was less than 4, we want to return y times y. And otherwise, if none of the above checks would be satisfied, we just want to return 1. So look how amazing it is. We have done so many checks here. It's just equal to 3 if statements and single return. And it's exactly the same logic. Why is it the same logic? Well, I'm going to just delete this thing here and try to run it with the same input, 3. Oh my god, the automatic indexing actually bothers us here. So I think I'm going to just save it without indexing. So for that, on Mac you can hit Command-Shift-P on the VS Code and say save without formatting. If you try to type it, for example, save without, it's going to just pop up and hit enter, so it gets saved. And we're going to just say node index.js again, and we are going to get the wrong input. So why is that? Because I didn't have the divided by 16 right here. And if it, oh my god, no. Save without formatting, and yeah, we get the same exact answer. So we can actually try to make this code more readable if I try to do something, for example, like this. If we open a parenthesis right here, this can actually get more readable. Yeah, you can see these are all conditions that we are going to check, which are these things right here, and these between the question mark and the colon are the values that we are going to return. So it's perfectly readable. If even we have like 10 of these things, I don't think it would be non-readable. It would be if they were all in single line, which you saw at the first. So we can do something even better right now, which is to convert it to arrow functions. As you can see, we are just returning a single value right now. We are not doing those if statements anymore, so we don't need to have an explicit return here. We can just make this an arrow function, which would be like doing const f equals y, and y is going to be taken to this part. So this code would actually function good, I believe. Oh my god. Let's leave the formatting just like that for now. No, it has some error. I don't get it why. So let's change F to FF. Oh, const. The T was not typed here. So good to know. All right. So let's indent these things back again and save. Oh my god, save without formatting, and we should get the same result. So this is an arrow function, but we haven't removed the return statement. For that, we should just remove these curly braces and the return statement. So again, so it's function, and also we can actually do this thing. We can remove the parentheses. We don't need them anymore. The arrow function itself is going to see that the return value is not in the same line, and it should actually go forward to the next line to see the output, to see the actual return statement. So again, save without formatting and same answer. So I believe this code looks just like the mathematical function compared to what you saw first, where we had lots of if statements. So please try to use it sometimes when it makes sense, when you can have something readable like this.